The crystal rim of the wine glass catches the overhead lights as my mother tilts it toward me, her smile sharp as the promotion pins they just fastened to my shoulders. "You're still weak," she whispers, then pushes, not hard enough to bruise, just enough to make me stumble in front of 200 fellow officers. My hand finds the record button on my smartwatch as I straighten my new major insignia. The officers' club falls silent. Mother's smile widens. She doesn't notice the ASIB agent by the back door, or the lawyer among the guests, or that this time, I'm not getting back up empty-handed. My name is Ava Caldwell, and tonight was supposed to be mine. The North River Garrison Officers Club gleams under soft amber lighting, its mahogany panels reflecting decades of military tradition. Fresh wax on the hardwood floors mingles with the scent of brass polish from the honor guard's buttons. Behind the podium where I'm scheduled to speak in 10 minutes, the flag stirs in the climate-controlled air. Everything is perfect, choreographed down to the second until my parents arrive 43 minutes late. They sweep through the main entrance like they own the place. My father, Jack Caldwell, walks with the swagger of a man who peaked 30 years ago selling insurance to veterans. My mother, Diane, wears a dress that costs more than she's ever contributed to my education, her heels clicking a staccato warning across the floor. The conversations around me shift, heads turn. My commanding officer's jaw tightens. "There's our little major," Diane announces, loud enough for the entire room to hear. The possessive pronoun cuts through the air like shrapnel. She's already 3 drinks in, I can tell by the careful way she's over-enunciating. Colonel Harrison, who was midway through congratulating me, steps back as my parents insert themselves into our conversation. No introduction, no acknowledgement of rank or protocol, just immediate ownership of the moment I've worked 12 years to earn. "You know," my father says, gripping my shoulder hard enough to wrinkle my dress uniform, "none of this would have happened without us. The sacrifices we made, the opportunities we gave her." The opportunities, like stealing my identity at 17 to open credit cards, like draining my college fund for their investments, like showing up to my basic training graduation to ask for money in front of my drill sergeant. "We have something for you," Diane says, producing an envelope from her purse. It's thick, official-looking, with my name typed across the front. She presses it into my hands with both of hers, her rings catching the light. A gift for our successful daughter who never forgets her obligations. The envelope feels wrong, too heavy for a card, too formal for money. Through the paper, I can feel the raised seal of a notary stamp. "Open it later," Jack says quickly, but Diane shakes her head. "No. Now, while everyone's watching, so they can all see how we support each other." Her smile could frost glass. Master Sergeant Rodriguez catches my eye from across the room. He's seen that look on my face before the one I wore when they showed up at my deployment send-off demanding I sign over power of attorney. He starts moving closer, but I give him the slightest shake of my head. Not yet. I slide my finger under the seal, the paper tearing with a sound that seems amplified in the sudden quiet. Inside are legal documents, dense paragraphs of legalese, but certain phrases jump out: complete and irrevocable authority, transfer of property rights, the duplex located at my duplex, the one I've been paying the mortgage on for 5 years, the one they convinced me to add their names to for tax purposes. At the bottom, spaces for signatures. Mine, and witnesses my parents have already forged the names of 2 officers from my unit. "Just sign it," my father says, his voice dropping to that tone he used when I was 7 and wouldn't eat my vegetables. "We need this, Ava. After everything we've done for you." The MC is calling my name. It's time for my promotion speech. 200 people are waiting. "Sign it quick," Diane hisses, "before you embarrass us further." I stand, tucking the papers back into the envelope. "Of course," I say, loud enough for others to hear. "Let me just get through my speech first." My mother's hand shoots out as I pass, catching my arm. To anyone watching, It might look like a gesture of affection, but her nails dig in through my sleeve, and she pulls just hard enough to make me stumble. My hip catches the edge of the table. A water glass tips, rolls, shatters on the floor. The room goes silent. She leans in close, her breath wine sour against my ear. "You're still weak," she whispers. "You always were. Sign the papers. Major. Or we'll make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of daughter abandons her parents after everything they've sacrificed." I straighten slowly, glass crunching under my dress shoes. My thumb finds the record button on my smartwatch, pressing twice for video mode. The tiny camera lens is angled perfectly at my mother's triumphant face. "I need to give my speech," I say quietly. "Then we'll discuss your gift." This time, she lets me go. As I walk to the podium, I catch sight of Marla Quinn, my lawyer, sitting among the civilian guests. She nods once, behind her. Agent Thompson from the Army Special Investigations Bureau stands by the rear exit, badge concealed, phone in hand. The microphone squeals softly as I adjust it. 200 faces look back at me, waiting. "Good evening," I begin, my voice steady despite the adrenaline flooding my system. "Thank you all for being here tonight." The first time they called me weak, I was 8 years old and had just won the district spelling bee. My mother's response to the trophy: "Anyone can memorize words. The real world requires strength you don't have." Standing at this podium now, I can see my childhood reflected in the polished wood grain, a warped funhouse mirror of achievements diminished and victories stolen. Our house in Millbrook, a dying steel town where the factories had closed before I was born, became my first training ground in survival. Not the kind the Army would later teach me, but the kind where you learn to sleep light because your parents might need to borrow your babysitting money at 3 in the morning. My father had dreams once, big ones, before the steel industry collapsed and took his job prospects with it. He'd tell anyone who'd listen about the business empire he would have built if only the economy hadn't conspired against him. By the time I was 12, those dreams had curdled into schemes. The Veterans Community Fund was his masterpiece, a charity that existed only on paper and in the hearts of elderly veterans who trusted a fellow patriot with their donations. "We're doing this for you," he'd said when I found the paperwork. "College isn't free, Ava. We're being smart about your future." Smart meant using my social security number to apply for credit cards when I turned 17. Smart meant having me sign documents I was too young to understand, papers that would haunt my credit report for years. Smart meant teaching me that love came with compound interest. My mother played the devoted military wife at my basic training graduation, dabbing at dry eyes while telling my drill sergeant how proud they were, how they'd sacrificed everything for their daughter's career. Sergeant Mills saw through it immediately, especially when she asked if there were any signing bonuses they could help me manage. The look he gave me that day was the first time an adult had ever acknowledged what I was dealing with. They'd refinanced their house 3 times using my name as a co-signer. Each time, they promised it was the last. Each time. I believed them because the alternative admitting my parents saw me as an ATM in uniform was too painful. Even when I deployed to Afghanistan, the emails came requests for wire transfers, demands for passwords to my accounts, guilt wrapped in sentences that began with, "After everything we've done for you." The breaking point should have been when they cleaned out my deployment savings. 6 months in Kandahar, living on MREs and sand, sending every penny home to an account they'd convinced me to share, for emergencies. I came back to find they'd invested it all in a pyramid scheme selling dietary supplements to veterans. $23,000 evaporated into their latest sure thing. But I was still weak then. Still believed that family meant something more than shared DNA and mutual destruction. So I covered their debts, took out personal loans, worked 3 jobs between training cycles. I told myself I was being strong, being the good daughter, proving them wrong about my weakness. The duplex changed everything. It was supposed to be my escape hatch, a rental property that would give me passive income, something entirely mine. but they wore me down with logic that sounded reasonable after a 16-hour shift. Add us to the deed for tax benefits. We'll never touch it. We just want to help you build wealth. 6 months later, I intercepted mail about a home equity loan application in my name. Their signatures on the documents. My forged consent. That's when I stopped being weak and started being smart. I began recording conversations, screenshotting text messages, building a paper trail that would make any prosecutor weep with joy. Every manipulation, every financial crime, every moment they mistook my silence for surrender, I documented it all. The Army's Cyber Defense Group had taught me about operational security, about gathering intelligence, about waiting for the perfect moment to strike. When I got the call about my promotion to major, I knew they'd come for their piece. They always did. Success was a bill I owed them, payable on demand. So I prepared the battlefield-contacted ASIB about the fraud, retained Marla Quinn for the civil case, arranged for witnesses, and made sure the promotion ceremony would be very, very public. They think I'm weak because I've always given in before. They think tonight will be no different, just another scene in our family theater where they play the devoted parents, and I play the ungrateful daughter who owes them everything. But weakness isn't what they think it is. Weakness is letting someone else's definition of family destroy you. Weakness is protecting people who see your love as a renewable resource to be strip-mined. Strength. Strength is standing at this podium with forged documents in my pocket and chosen family in the audience, the real family. The ones who've seen me at my worst and still call me Major with pride in their voices. My parents taught me everything I needed to know about power. They just never expected me to graduate from their school of hard knocks with honors. The morning after the promotion ceremony announcement, I sit in the JAG office at 0700 hours, spreading evidence across Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Brennan's desk like dealing cards for a hand I can't afford to lose. She studies each document with the intensity of someone defusing a bomb. "This is extensive," she says, holding up the forged Veterans Community Fund registration. "How long have you been building this case?" 3 years of documentation, 6 years of living it. She nods, making notes on her legal pad. "The forged signatures on the witness lines, that's federal. The wire fraud during your deployment, that's UCMJ Article 123. But Caldwell, I need to ask why, now." I slide her the latest envelope. "Because this time, they're not just stealing from me. They forged the names of Lieutenant Torres and Captain Williams as witnesses. They're dragging my unit into their crimes." Brennan's expression hardens. She knows both officers good people who don't deserve to have their names tangled in my family's web. "We'll need ASIB involved." "Already done." I hand her Agent Thompson's card. "He's been investigating the Veterans Fund fraud for 2 years. My parents just happened to be the missing link he needed." The thing about military justice is that it moves with deliberate precision. Every step calculated, every regulation followed. It's the opposite of how my parents operate, all emotion and improvisation, banking on guilt and family loyalty to cover their tracks. Marla Quinn meets me at a coffee shop off base at 1400 hours. She's my civilian attorney, a former prosecutor who specialized in elder fraud before going private. She looks like someone's grandmother until you see her in court, where she transforms into a legal predator. "The house equity loan attempt is enough for attempted grand larceny," she says, stirring sugar into her coffee. "But the pattern of financial abuse, that's what will resonate with a jury. Judges see con artists every day. They rarely see parents systematically destroying their own child. I don't want to destroy them," I say, though the words taste like a lie. "I just want them to stop." Marla gives me a look that could peel paint. "Ava, they pushed you at your promotion ceremony, in front of your colleagues. That's assault, however minor. They're escalating because they sense you're pulling away. This ends one of 2 ways they destroy you, or you stop them first." She's right. I know she's right. But knowing and accepting are different battles. I spend the next week laying tripwires. The security cameras I install in my duplex are hidden but legal. It's my property. After all, the banking passwords get changed to phrases they'll never guess. Quotes from the drill sergeants who actually built me into something strong. The safe in my bedroom gets bolted to the floor joists, holding copies of everything while the originals stay with my lawyers. My cousin Derek shows up on Thursday, wearing his concern like a cheap suit. "Aunt Diane says you're having some mental health issues," he says, standing on my doorstep with a duffel bag. "Said I should stay with you for a while, make sure you're okay." I almost laugh. Derek, who stole his own mother's jewelry to buy gaming equipment. Derek, who my parents know has sticky fingers and flexible morals. Their reconnaissance asset, sent to case my house. "How thoughtful," I say, stepping aside to let him in. "You can have the guest room." It's right next to my home office. The office I've already stripped of anything valuable. The guest room with the hidden camera that covers the hallway to my bedroom. Derek doesn't know he's walking into a counterintelligence operation. That night, he tries my office door at 233 a.m. The handle jiggles on camera, his face illuminated by his phone screen as he texts someone undoubtedly my mother that the door is locked. By morning, he's found nothing because there's nothing to find. Just a printer, some old training manuals, and a desktop computer that hasn't been connected to the internet in months. "Your house is really sparse," he comments over breakfast. "Where's all your Army stuff awards and things?" "Storage unit." I lie smoothly. "Everything's actually in Colonel Harrison's basement, moved there after hours with the help of my squad." "I'm renovating." My mother calls an hour after Derek leaves for his shift at the gas station. "Derek says you're paranoid. Locking doors, acting suspicious. This isn't healthy. Ava. I'm a cybersecurity officer. Mom, operational security is literally my job. We're your family. You shouldn't have secrets from family." The irony is thick enough to choke on. "Speaking of family, I've been thinking about your gift, the property transfer. I'd like to discuss it in person, maybe at the ceremony." Her pause tells me everything. She's calculating, wondering if I'm surrendering or setting a trap. But greed wins, like it always does. "Of course, sweetheart. We just want what's best for you." After I hang up, I forward the recording to Thompson and Marla. The phrase property transfer instead of gift is legally significant acknowledgement of what those documents really are. 3 days before the ceremony, Agent Thompson calls. "We've tracked 63,000 in donations to the Veterans Fund. Only 4,000 ever went to actual veterans. Your parents bought a boat, 2 motorcycles, and took 6 vacations with the rest. They told me those vacations were from Dad's consulting work. Your dad hasn't had legitimate employment in 8 years. Major. Everything's been cons and schemes." The weight of it sits on my chest like body armor. Every birthday gift, every dinner they treated me to, every gesture of parental affection, all funded by stealing from veterans who trusted them. "We'll be at the ceremony," Thompson continues. "Judge signed the warrants this morning. The moment they attempt to coerce you into signing, we move." The text messages start at 5:42 a.m., the day before the ceremony. My phone buzzes against the nightstand like an angry wasp. "Mom, you've been avoiding us. This is unacceptable. Mom, after everything we sacrificed for your career. Mom, your father's health is declining because of your selfishness. Mom, answer me. Ava. Mom, we know you're reading these." I let them accumulate, each one another exhibit for Marla's files. By noon, there are 43 messages, escalating from guilt to threats to promises of reconciliation and back to rage. The cycle of abuse compressed into digital timestamps. My father prefers voicemails, his weapon of choice. His voice fills my kitchen as I play them on speaker for the recording device Marla gave me. "You think you're something special now? Major Caldwell." His words slur slightly. 11:15 a.m., and he's already drinking. "You were nothing before us. Nothing. A weak little girl who cried when her goldfish died. We made you tough. We deserve compensation for that investment." Investment. Like I'm a stock portfolio that's finally paying dividends. Derek's presence escalates from reconnaissance to occupation. He shows up with more belongings, claiming the water's off at his apartment. Then his PlayStation appears in my living room. Then his girlfriend starts arriving at odd hours, using my spare key, the one I never gave them. Just family helping family, Derek says when I change the locks. Aunt Diane said you wouldn't mind. Derek, you need to leave. Or what you'll call the cops on your own cousin. He's gaming on my couch, feet up on my coffee table, an energy drink leaving rings on the wood. Diane says you're having a breakdown, says we need to watch you for your own good. I document everything, photos of him trying to pry open my filing cabinet, security footage of his girlfriend going through my mail, the empty beer cans he leaves like territorial markers. When I find him in my garage at 2A, photographing my car's VIN number, I don't confront him. I just add it to the file. The pressure increases 2 days before the ceremony. My mother arrives unannounced with a locksmith, claiming she's worried I've had an accident since I'm not answering calls. I'm your emergency contact, she tells the locksmith, showing him old paperwork from my basic training days. My daughter has PTSD. Sometimes she forgets things. I step onto the porch before he can start working. I'm fine. You can go. The locksmith looks between us, confused. My mother's mask slips for just a moment, pure fury flashing across her face before she reconstructs her concerned parent facade. Sweetheart, we're just worried. You've been so distant. And with your promotion tomorrow, the ceremony is in 2 days. Mom, she doesn't miss a beat. See, you're confused. Let us help you. I'm a major in the United States Army. I run a cyber defense unit protecting classified networks. I think I can manage my own schedule. The locksmith backs toward his van, clearly wanting no part of this domestic drama. My mother watches him go, then turns back to me with a smile that could freeze helium. You always were ungrateful. We'll discuss this at your ceremony. You will sign those papers. Ava, one way or another. She leaves, but not before I catch her taking photos of my house, my car, my new security cameras, building her own intelligence file, perhaps, or shopping for assets she plans to steal. That evening, my parents' campaign goes nuclear. They call my commanding officer. Colonel Harrison summons me to his office at 1900 hours, his expression unreadable. Your mother called the base commander, he says. Claims you're mentally unstable, that you're being manipulated by fellow officers, that your promotion should be postponed pending psychological evaluation. My stomach drops. This could derail everything: my career, the investigation, the trap we've set. Harrison continues. She also suggested you've been embezzling funds meant for family support. Says she has evidence. Sir, He holds up a hand. Caldwell, I've known you for 4 years. I've seen you under fire in Kandahar. I've watched you build our cyber defense program from scratch, and I've noticed the pattern of your parents appearing whenever you achieve something significant. He slides a document across his desk. Agent Thompson briefed me. Fully. Your promotion stands. The ceremony proceeds as planned. Relief floods through me like cold water. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me yet. Your mother also called the base newspaper, 3 congressional offices, and the Inspector General. She's trying to create enough chaos to force you to comply. This is scorched earth tactics. Major. He's right. They're burning every bridge, leveraging every connection, pulling every string they think they have. What they don't realize is that each call, each threat, each lie is being documented by people far more powerful than they've ever encountered. Let them come, I say quietly. I'm done being afraid of them. Harrison nods slowly. The conference room is set for the ceremony. Security knows to expect agents. Your parents will be seated at table 12, direct sightline to the podium, but far from the exits. He pauses. We take care of our own. Caldwell, you're not alone in this. That night, I can't sleep. I sit in my kitchen, watching Derek through the security feed as he loads boxes from my garage into his car. Boxes of old deployment gear I deliberately left accessible. Nothing valuable but suspicious enough to keep him busy. My phone buzzes with another message from my mother. Last chance to do this the easy way. You know what we're capable of. I do know. That's why this ends tomorrow. I type back my first response in 3 days. The ceremony is at 1400 hours. Bring the documents. We'll handle this properly. Her response is immediate. Finally coming to your senses. You were always weak, but at least you're smart enough to know when you're beaten. I set the phone down and check my watch. 31 hours until showtime. Every piece is in position. Tomorrow, they'll learn that the daughter they trained in the art of war finally graduated from their school of survival. The student is about to become the master. The North River Garrison Officers Club hums with controlled energy at 13:45 hours. Brass gleams, glasses sparkle, and the honor guard stands at attention by the flag. 200 guests fill the conference hall, fellow officers, civilian staff, local dignitaries, and journalists from the base newspaper my mother so helpfully alerted. I stand near the podium in my dress blues, the new major oak leaves catching the light. My speech cards rest in my pocket, though I won't need them. Everything I plan to say is burned into memory like code into a hard drive. Looking sharp, Major, Master Sergeant Rodriguez says, passing by with a meaningful nod toward table 12. Your guests have arrived. So, my parents sit like royalty holding court, my mother in a dress that screams money they don't have, my father already working on his second whiskey. They're talking loudly to anyone who'll listen about their daughter, the Major, their sacrifices, their pride. Derek sulks beside them, probably annoyed I changed the locks before he could finish his shopping spree. At 1400 hours precisely, Colonel Harrison takes the microphone. The room falls silent except for the soft whir of the air conditioning and the distant sound of helicopters from the flight line. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gathered here to celebrate the promotion of Captain Ava Caldwell to the rank of Major. Her dedication to cybersecurity excellence has protected countless classified networks and trained a new generation of cyber warriors. Applause ripples through the room. I catch Agent Thompson's eye. He's positioned by the rear exit, phone in hand, ready to record. Marla Quinn sits 3 tables from my parents, legal pad discreetly placed beside her water glass. The formal promotion ceremony proceeds with military precision. Colonel Harrison reads the orders, removes my captain's bars, and pins on the gold oak leaves. The photographer captures every moment, including my parents pushing forward for their photo opportunity. So proud, my mother says loudly, gripping my arm hard enough to bruise through the fabric. The camera flashes. Her smile is perfect. Her whisper is not, "Sign the papers after your speech, or I'll make a scene these people will never forget." I take my place at the podium, adjusting the microphone. Thank you all for being here today. When I joined the Army 12 years ago, I was searching for something I'd never had: a family built on merit, trust, and mutual respect. My mother's smile flickers. This isn't starting how she expected. The Army taught me about strength. Not the kind that pushes others down, but the kind that lifts them up. Not the kind that takes, but the kind that protects. I let my gaze rest on table 12. Today, I want to thank those who truly built me into the officer standing before you. I name names: drill sergeants, mentors, squad mates who became siblings. My parents aren't mentioned. My mother's face reddens with each omission. Before I continue, I say, pulling on the white ceremonial gloves I've kept in my pocket. My parents have prepared something special for this occasion. Mom, would you like to present your gift now? The room turns expectantly. My mother stands, caught between her rage and the need to perform. She chooses performance, gliding forward with the envelope held high like a trophy. We've always supported our daughter, she announces, though no one asked. This gift represents our continued commitment to her success. She hands me the envelope with flourish. I accept it with gloved hands, no fingerprints, just like Marla instructed. The room watches as I open it slowly, deliberately, making sure the base photographer captures every moment. How thoughtful, I say into the microphone, my voice carrying clearly. A legal document. Perhaps I should read it aloud so everyone can appreciate your generosity. My father stands abruptly. That's not necessary. No, please, I insist. I hold the papers up to the light, angling them so the overhead projector prepositioned by helpful IT staff displays them on the screen behind me. Let's see. Transfer of property rights. Complete and irrevocable authority. Interesting. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. My mother's mask begins cracking. And here, I point to the signature lines, now magnified for all to see. Witness signatures from Lieutenant Torres and Captain Williams. Gentlemen, could you stand? Both officers rise from their seats across the room, confusion clear on their faces. Did either of you sign these documents? No, ma'am. Torres responds firmly. That's not my signature. Never seen these before. Major. Williams adds. The room goes dead silent except for the hum of the projector. My mother's face cycles through emotions, shock, rage, calculation. She recovers with impressive speed. There's been a misunderstanding, she says, reaching for the documents. This was meant to be private. Private? I pull the papers back, still speaking into the microphone. But you said this was a gift. Gifts aren't usually private, unless... I pause for effect. This isn't really a gift at all. Sign it, my father growls, abandoning pretense as he storms forward. You owe us. For everything. For the roof over your head, the food in your mouth, the credit cards opened in my name, the $23,000 stolen from my deployment account, the Veterans Community Fund that somehow funded your boat. Gasps echo through the room. Someone drops a glass. It shatters in the silence that follows. My mother lunges for the microphone. She's lying. She's having a breakdown. We came here to help. Is that why you pushed me earlier? I ask calmly, touching my shoulder where she grabbed me. To help. The base photographer, bless him, has been shooting continuously. Every expression, every gesture, every moment of their unraveling is captured in high resolution. Perhaps, I continue, pulling out my phone. We should listen to your voicemail from yesterday. For context, I hold my phone up to the microphone. My father's voice filling the conference hall through the speaker system. You were nothing before us. Nothing. A weak little girl who cried when her goldfish died. We made you tough. We deserve compensation for that investment. The recording ends. 200 people sit in stunned silence. A colonel in the front row has his mouth open. The base journalist is typing furiously on her tablet. That's taken out of context, my mother stammers. But her usual confidence is cracking like ice under pressure. Let's provide more context then. I tap my phone screen. Slide 1, please. The projector displays bank statements. The IT specialist I'd briefed clicks through them slowly, giving everyone time to read. The Veterans Community Fund, I narrate calmly. $63,000 in donations between 2019 and 2024. $4,000 to actual veterans. $59,000 to Jack and Diane Caldwell's personal accounts. You can't prove, my father starts. Slide 2. Images appear my father at the boat dealership, my mother at the Harley-Davidson showroom, receipts with dates matching large withdrawals from the fund. Those were legitimate business expenses. My mother's voice cracks. She turns to the audience, trying to salvage control. She's twisting everything we helped build that fund. Slide 3. The forged loan application appears, my signature clearly different from the real one displayed beside it. Home equity loan attempt, February 2024. Note the discrepancy in the signatures. Colonel Harrison stands. Major Caldwell, are you saying your parents attempted fraud using your property? Yes, sir. Multiple times. I pull another document from the podium's shelf where I'd staged it. Here's the notarized statement from the bank confirming they flagged the suspicious application. My mother abandons all pretense. Her face contorts with rage as she stalks toward me. You ungrateful little after everything we've done. We raised you, we fed you, you owe us everything. Slide 4. The screen fills with text messages. Dozens of them, timestamps visible, threats escalating with each one. You'll regret crossing us. We know where you live. Sign the papers or we'll destroy your career. You were always weak. These are from the past 72 hours, I explained to the silent room. Sent while trying to coerce me into signing fraudulent property transfer documents. My father grabs the microphone stand. This is a family matter. You don't air family. The moment you forged the signatures of my fellow officers, you made it the Army's matter. I gesture to Torres and Williams, who are still standing. The moment you stole from veterans, you made it a federal matter. Security, Colonel Harrison says quietly. 2 MPs step forward, but my mother isn't done. She tears the envelope from my gloved hands, ripping it in half, then quarters, the pieces falling like contaminated snow. There, no evidence you can't prove anything now. Mom, I say, almost gently. That was a copy. The originals are with the prosecutors. The word prosecutors hits like a physical blow. She stumbles backward, her heel catching on the carpet. My father reaches for her, but his hands are shaking too badly to help. Slide 5. The final image appears a photograph of their original fraud. The Veterans Community Fund registration with their signatures. The fake charity's mission statement claiming to help disabled veterans rebuild their lives with dignity. Every donor has been contacted, I announce. Restitution will be pursued. You're destroying us, my mother whispers, and for the first time in my life, she looks small. Your own parents. No, you destroyed yourselves. I'm just refusing to be collateral damage anymore. Agent Thompson steps forward, badge visible now. Mr. and Mrs. Caldwell, I'm Agent Thompson with the Army Special Investigations Bureau. We need to speak with you. Marla Quinn rises from her table, briefcase in hand. And I represent Major Caldwell in the civil proceedings. You'll be hearing from me regarding the property theft attempts and financial fraud. My mother looks around wildly, searching for allies in a room full of uniformed strangers. Her gaze lands on Derek, who's trying to edge toward the exit. Derek, tell them how she's been acting crazy. Derek has his own problems, I say calmly. Security footage of him attempting to break into my filing cabinet and photographing my vehicle identification number has been provided to local police. Derek bolts. He makes it 3 steps before an MP blocks his path. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Harrison addresses the room. I apologize for this disruption to our celebration. Perhaps we should take a brief recess. No, I interrupt, surprising myself with the steadiness of my voice. I'd like to finish, sir. If I may? He nods slowly. I face the room, my parents frozen between Agent Thompson and the approaching MPs, the torn paper at their feet like evidence of their own crime. The Army gave me something my biological family never could, the knowledge that strength isn't about power over others. It's about protecting those who cannot protect themselves. It's about integrity when no one's watching. It's about choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. I look directly at my parents. You called me weak because I wouldn't become like you, but refusing to be cruel isn't weakness. It's the hardest kind of strength there is. My mother opens her mouth one more time, that familiar sneer forming, ready to deliver another cutting remark. But Agent Thompson places a hand on her shoulder. Ma'am, you have the right to remain silent. The moment fractures into slow motion. Agent Thompson's hand on my mother's shoulder. The MPs moving into position. The camera's continuous clicking. 200 witnesses to the unraveling of a 32-year lie. This is harassment, my mother shrieks, jerking away from Thompson. We came to support our daughter. Tell them, Ava, tell them this is a mistake. I touch my rank insignia, the oak leaves they tried to tarnish before I could even wear them properly. The only mistake was believing you'd change. Thompson signals his partner, Agent Kim, who enters from the rear exit carrying an evidence box. She sets it on the gift table with deliberate care, the thud echoing through the silent hall. Mr. and Mrs. Caldwell, Thompson announces formally. We have a warrant to examine all electronic devices in your possession. My father's hand goes instinctively to his phone. You can't. Slide 6, I say quietly. The screen displays a search warrant, signed this morning by a federal judge. The crimes listed are extensive wire fraud, identity theft, forgery, conspiracy to commit fraud against the United States government. Your phones, please, Agent Kim says, producing evidence bags. My mother clutches her purse tighter. I want a lawyer. You'll have opportunity to contact counsel, Thompson assures her. After we process the evidence, Marla Quinn steps forward, her grandmother facade replaced by prosecutorial steel. Actually, if I may, she pulls a document from her briefcase. Mrs. Caldwell, this is a civil asset forfeiture notice. Given the evidence of fraud involving Major Caldwell's property, a judge has frozen all accounts connected to the attempted theft. The boat, my father whispers, the color draining from his face. The house, all purchased with stolen funds, Marla continues. Subject to seizure pending investigation. My mother turns to me one last time, her mask completely shattered. Raw hatred burns in her eyes, the same look she gave me at 8 years old when I asked why she never hugged me like other moms. You planned this. It's not a question. I learned from the best, I reply. You taught me to document everything, to always have leverage, to protect myself above all else. I pause. The only lesson you forgot to teach me was when to stop protecting people who don't deserve it. She lunges. It's not elegant or calculated like before. This is pure rage, nails extended, aimed at my face, but 12 years of army training kicks in. I sidestep, and she crashes into the podium. The microphone squeals as it falls, feedback piercing the air. Assault, Colonel Harrison states clearly. Everyone saw it. Photographer, please confirm you captured that. The base photographer nods, checking his camera's display. Yes, sir. Multiple angles. My mother is on her knees now, the torn papers around her like confession. My father hasn't moved, frozen as his world collapses in real time. There's more, Agent Kim announces, reading from her phone. Derek Caldwell was just arrested in the parking lot. He had Major Caldwell's deployment medals in his vehicle, along with several pieces of military equipment reported missing from the base exchange. So that's what he was really looking for in my garage. Not just my things, anything with military value he could sell. Additionally, Thompson adds, looking at my parents, we've been in contact with 3 other family members who claim you've defrauded them over the years. Your sister in Ohio, Mr. Caldwell, your brother in Texas, Mrs. Caldwell. They're eager to cooperate. The room feels smaller suddenly, the walls closing in on 2 people who spent decades making others feel trapped. My mother finally stands, her expensive dress torn at the knee from her fall. She tries one last manipulation, her voice shifting to wounded innocence. Ava, sweetheart, we're your parents. We made mistakes, but we love you. Don't do this. Don't destroy your family. You destroyed our family the day you decided I was an investment instead of a daughter. My voice doesn't waver. I'm just finalizing the paperwork. She opens her mouth again, but Agent Thompson cuts her off. Ma'am, I really do suggest you remain silent. He pulls out the handcuffs, the metal catching the light like my new rank insignia. Jack and Diane Caldwell, you're under arrest for wire fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy to defraud the United States government. The click of the handcuffs is precise, mechanical, final. First my father's wrists, then my mother's. The sound I've heard hundreds of times in my career, but never thought I'd hear connected to the people who gave me life. My mother tries one more time as they're led past me. Not words this time. Just a look, the same withering stare that once made me question every achievement, every moment of joy, every ounce of self-worth I tried to build. You're still weak, she mouths silently. I meet her gaze steadily. No. I'm free. The MPs escort them out through the main entrance, past the honor guard still standing at attention, past the American flag that represents everything they pretended to respect while stealing from those who served under it. The room exhales collectively once the doors close. Then, starting from somewhere in the back, someone begins to clap, slowly. Others join in. Not celebration. This isn't that kind of moment, but acknowledgement. Recognition of a battle won at tremendous cost. Colonel Harrison approaches, placing a steadying hand on my shoulder. Major Caldwell, that took exceptional courage. Permission to be relieved, sir. My voice finally cracks. Just slightly. Denied. You're going to finish your promotion speech. These people came to celebrate Major Ava Caldwell, and that's exactly what we're going to do. He turns to the room. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll return to your seats. I stand at the podium, looking out at faces that have shifted from shock to something else respect. Perhaps understanding. The fake family I had to destroy sits in handcuffs in federal vehicles outside. The real family, the one I chose and who chose me, fills this room. I clear my throat, touch my oak leaves once more, and begin again. The Army teaches us that integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching. Today, you all watched. Today, integrity won. The conference hall remains silent except for the distant sound of vehicles leaving the parking lot. Federal vehicles carrying away the two people who spent 32 years trying to convince me I was nothing without them. I stand at the podium, my white gloves still pristine, the torn papers scattered across the floor like the remnants of a battle. The microphone hums softly as I adjust it one final time. When I was 8, I begin, my voice steady now. I won a spelling bee. When I came home with the trophy, my mother told me anyone could memorize words. That real strength was something I'd never have. She was wrong about the strength, but right about one thing: anyone can memorize words. It's living by them that's hard. I look across the room at faces I've served with, people who've seen me at my best and worst, who knew something was broken in my past but never pushed for details I wasn't ready to give. The Army's values aren't just words we memorize. Loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. Today, you witnessed what those words mean when they're tested by the people who should have taught them to me first. Master Sergeant Rodriguez nods slowly from his seat. He knew. Somehow. He always knew. My parents called me weak because I wouldn't become cruel, because I chose to build rather than destroy, because I refused to see other people as transactions. I pause, letting my eyes rest on the empty chairs at table 12. They never understood that real weakness is needing to push others down to feel tall. Colonel Harrison stands again, this time moving to the podium beside me. Major Caldwell has asked to keep this brief, and we'll honor that. But before we conclude, I want this room to understand something. What you witnessed today was not just personal courage. It was an officer protecting the integrity of this institution and the veterans who served it. The fraud Major Caldwell exposed victimized 63 veterans who trusted a charity that bore our community's name. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Anger now, the righteous kind. Those veterans will receive full restitution. Harrison continues. Major Caldwell is personally ensuring it, even though she bears no legal responsibility for her parents' crimes. I hadn't planned to announce that, but it's done now. The inheritance I never wanted from people who never really loved me will go to those they stole from. It feels like the only clean thing to do with money that was never clean to begin with. The base photographer raises his camera one more time. Major, if I could get one more photo, just you. By the flag. I walk to where the honor guard stands, position myself before the stars and stripes. As the camera clicks, I don't smile. This isn't that kind of moment, but I stand straight, shoulders back, oak leaves gleaming. The image will run in tomorrow's base newspaper under a headline I'll never read, because by then I'll be back at work, leading my cyber defense team, living the life I built despite everything they tried to tear down. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Harrison announces, this concludes our ceremony. Light refreshments are available, though we understand if anyone needs to leave. People stand slowly, unsure of the protocol for what they've witnessed. Some approach to shake my hand, murmuring support. Others slip out quietly, perhaps uncomfortable with the raw display of family dysfunction laid bare. Agent Thompson returns, alone this time. Major, we'll need a formal statement. but it can wait until Monday. The evidence you provided is comprehensive. He pauses. In 20 years of investigating fraud, I've rarely seen someone document their own abuse so thoroughly. I learned from experts, I reply. They taught me to always protect myself, keep evidence, trust no one. They just never expected me to apply those lessons to them. Marla Quinn approaches as Thompson leaves. The civil case will be straightforward. With the criminal convictions likely, recovering damages should be simple. The house will be fully yours within 60 days. Thank you. She studies me with those sharp prosecutor eyes. You know they'll likely serve time, your parents. Yes. And you're at peace with that. I think of all the years I covered for them, cleaned up their messes, believed their lies about family loyalty, all the therapy it will take to undo their damage, all the veterans who went without because two people felt entitled to everything. They made their choices, I say finally. I'm just done protecting them from consequences. As the room empties, I'm left standing by the flag with a handful of people my real family. Rodriguez, who covered my shifts when my parents' drama interfered with duty. Williams and Torres, who never questioned why I couldn't talk about home. Colonel Harrison, who saw potential in a damaged captain and nurtured it anyway. Drinks, Rodriguez suggests. Not to celebrate, just to be. Yeah, I agree. That sounds perfect. We file out together, leaving the conference hall to the cleaning crew. Someone has already begun collecting the torn papers from the floor, the physical evidence of my mother's final tantrum. By tomorrow, the room will be pristine again, ready for the next ceremony, the next celebration, the next moment of military precision. But I don't look back. Outside, the afternoon sun is bright against the Texas sky. No federal vehicles remain in the parking lot. No parents wait to ambush me with guilt and manipulation. For the first time in 32 years, I walk to my car without checking over my shoulder, without preparing for the next attack, without armor against the people who should have been my safest place. My phone buzzes a text from a number I don't recognize. I almost delete it, then see the preview. Major Caldwell, I'm Sarah Chen from the Veterans Community Fund investigation. 63 veterans have asked me to thank you. I put the phone away without reading the rest. Tomorrow I'll face the gratitude, the questions, the aftermath. Tonight, I'm just Ava, sitting in a bar with the family I chose, toasting with beer instead of champagne, finally understanding what strength really means. It means standing up with everyone watching. It means choosing truth over blood. It means accepting that sometimes the only way to honor yourself is to dishonor those who never honored you. The flag outside the bar waves in the evening breeze. I raise my glass to it, to the values it represents, to the institution that gave me what my parents never could, a foundation built on merit, not manipulation. You're still weak, she said. No, Mother, I was strong enough to survive you. That's the strongest thing there is. Thank you for listening to this story. Where are you tuning in from today? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel and share what stood out most to you. Your engagement helps these stories reach others who might need to hear them.